Well, hello, friend. Happy Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday today. Anyway, I have a message to share with you, a message that came to me during my meditation. I meditate every day for an hour now. It's just what I'm called to do. And it's what it feels good for me to meditate for a full hour. And towards the end of my meditation today, I got some guidance here to share with you. And in case you wonder where this guidance comes from, it comes from my higher self. We all have a higher self, the spirit, and what I love about an hour meditation is that it takes that long sometimes for me to really get below my thoughts, my conscious mind, and get into that place where the body and the mind release, relax, surrender, and then we can tap into this field, the field of supreme intelligence. And that's what the guidance comes from. And anybody can access this guidance. And in fact, I consider this my training now. Going to meditation is like going to school for me every day. So instead of going and attend to a course outside, I just go in meditation sometimes even for an hour and a half, because I am taking these teachings, embodying these teachings, so I can teach you as well of how to access this supreme intelligence that is the field of intelligence, the field of the universe. You can call it the field of God, the mind of God. Doesn't matter what you call, it's this field. Okay. So the message I want to share with you today, it's about two questions that can help you to create some movement in your life. So this message is going to resonate, especially for those of you, or maybe you share this with somebody who is feeling stuck, feeling like you in a rut. It can be a rut of like negative thinking, a rut of patterns that it seems like you cannot break, a rut of like behaviors, like you want to get healthier, but you're having such a hard time changing those like bad habits into good habits that will help you to become healthier in the mind, body, spirit, right? Maybe you want to meditate, but you can't get yourself to do that. So we have all this areas. A lot of times we want to change and we get so angry, so frustrated that we we have a feeling that we don't have the power to make those changes. Well, that happens because all our behaviors or patterns or thoughts or values are dictated by our unconscious or subconscious, same thing, or unconscious mind. 95% of everything we do, or state of being, or state of feeling, or thinking, or patterns are coming from the unconscious mind. And until you make conscious and until you create alignment with your conscious mind and alignment with the image, the goal, the vision that you want to create, until you create full alignment with that, you will encounter all these forces that feel like crisis, feel like stress, they feel like conflict, like a part of you wanted to do this and another part wanted to do that. So we need to reconcile and create congruence. Okay. So what keeps us stuck in certain patterns, like let's say you always have these issues with money, you always feel like you don't have money, you always broke, or you feel like you always attracting the same kind of relationships, or no matter what you do, you cannot get healthy. We all have an area in your life that seems like we cannot, like we hit a ceiling and we cannot grow. It might be spiritually, even might be like you feel like your meditations are doing nothing for you. It can be an area that you're just feeling that might be a block. And we are the ones that create that block through our thoughts, through our beliefs, through our patterns. And you're not creating that block intentionally. You're not waking up every day and saying, I'm going to create a block. It's coming from your unconscious mind. It's coming from limiting beliefs, from your old conditioning, from your old program. Okay. So without making this complicated, because my goal in this video is always to give you something that you can apply right away, because some of you might choose to work with me, some of you may not, or you might already work with somebody else. It doesn't matter where you are. I want to give you a quick um, solution here to start creating some movement. Because again, that feeling of like being stuck or being stagnant, it's an illusion. First of all, you always moving. It's just like you might not be moving, number one, fast enough for you, for your desires, right? So it might be too slow, or you are moving but maybe not moving into the right direction. You are moving, it just might be a movement towards another direction that it's not your vision, is not fulfilling, right? Until you create congruence, you're going to keep moving towards that path that is taking you to a place that you don't want to be. So you need to interrupt that. So the way you can interrupt is by, a great way to interrupt the mind patterns, those thoughts, is by bringing some very empowering questions that can interrupt the pattern. Think of a pattern like this. You sitting in your office and you start to experience some boredom. There's something that happens, start to experience boredom or anxiety. And every time you experience boredom or anxiety, you tend to reach for a can of soda and drink that soda. And with that, you might grab a couple cookies. And then after that, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did this because I want to get healthy. So the pattern is this. The pattern is, there's a trigger. It can be time, can be environment, can be a person, can be an email, can be a number of things. There's a trigger that got you to start that pattern, that um, it's a habit. A pattern is something that happens every day. It's a habit. So there's a trigger, then you experience boredom, you experience anxiety, and that's a signal that you have that tells your body that, oh, it's time to drink a Coke and eat a couple cookies. So that's what a pattern is. And because it's an automatic behavior, you feel like you can control. When you realize you already had the Coke and the two cookies, and then you feel terrible, you feel guilt, you feel shame, and you feel like it keeps you stuck in this pattern. So there's still movement, it's just movement towards something that you don't want. So that's what a pattern is. So we need to interrupt that pattern. Of course, that's a sign of habit. You can replace the the action. Instead of having the Coke or the cookies, you can do something. But that's not what I'm talking about today. I just want to give an example of that, because a pattern is something that is happening automatically in your mind. And you feel like you're not going to, but once you start becoming conscious about the pattern, you can interrupt. So what I'm going to teach you here today is how to interrupt the pattern of feeling stuck, feeling hopeless, feeling weak, feeling that you don't have the power to make change. You do. I have a clear and deep belief that every person has the power to create changes. Every person has the power to transform. Everyone. I am not special. And if I am special, that means you are too, because we are the same. So I'm not special, you're not special, or we can say we all are special. We all can tap into the superpowers. So one way to interrupt those patterns that are keeping you in that loop of negativity, that loop that you're not changing, it's by asking some empowering questions. This is a question number one that I want you to ask. When you start to experience some um, negative emotion, or you start getting caught in the negative thinking, and then it's just like, because the thinking and feeling are connected, you create the thinking that will create certain feeling, and the feeling will feed the thinking, and you're caught in this loop, and that will create a state of being, right? You just start feeling like, oh. So let's say you start a negative thinking, will lead to some negative emotions, and then by the time you realize, you're sinking in the chair, completely like unmotivated for the day, feeling more hopeless, feeling more fearful, feeling more anxious. So when you catch yourself on that, this is what I want you to do. Ask yourself at that moment, what's possible? What is possible to happen? What's possible to happen today? What's possible to happen tomorrow? What's possible to happen in a couple of months? What is possible? And the second question I want you to ask is, what is the potential for change here? What is my potential? So the key words here are possibilities and potential. When you do that, think about this. Think that you're sitting back, unmotivated, discouraged. And if you not conscious that you're feeling that way, first you need to be conscious that you're feeling that way. Once you become conscious that, oh, I don't feel like doing anything, I feel like my life is just boring thing every single day, whatever the negative pattern that you have is, must be interrupted. The only way you're going to interrupt is by asking new empowering questions, because what's happening to in that negative pattern, you are asking very disempowering questions. My disempowering question used to be, what's wrong with me? Or what is my block? Why is my block? And I kept believing that I had a block. Well, I realized not too long ago that my exact thought that I had a block was what was creating the block. So we become our worst enemies. We create our blocks. Because the truth is, if we're going to look at external circumstances, we all have challenges. We all might have challenges with money. We all might have challenges of, um, challenges with family, challenges that maybe come from our childhood, challenges with the pandemic. We all have the challenges. And I'm not denying that some people are having much bigger challenge than I am right now. I'm not going to deny that. But I had some huge challenge to overcome. Just happen to not feel those challenges right now. So a lot is about reframing. But when you ask those powerful questions, what is possible for me? What is my potential? It's like creating this pulling force that's going to get you out of this discouraged, helpless position. You cannot help if you ask this question, what's possible for me? What is my potential? You cannot help but to stand taller, to sit taller, and ignite your curiosity. The curiosity is one of those little seeds in your heart. Curiosity pulls you forward to maybe go watch a video that encourages you to take actions, that will encourage you to read a book that's going to give you some strategies and give some hope. It will encourage you to go take a walk and connect with the field, with God. It will encourage you to go sit in meditation, connect with your heart. When you ask those questions, it will create a movement towards something different than what it has been for you. It just happens. It's the power. When you ask an empowering question like that, what's possible for me? If you feel that I can do this, because naturally the frequency of those words, possibilities and potential, creates expansion, creates ascension, creates like curiosity. So you cannot ask those two questions, use those two words, and stay in the same state that you are. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. If you feel stuck, if you feel stagnant, I want you to ask those questions. What's possible? What is the potential? What is possible for me? What is my potential? And then from that state, you can even like say, what's possible for my family? What's possible for this nation? Today, my meditation towards the end for 5 minutes, I just invested that time asking what's possible for a nation, what's possible for our nature, what's possible for our forests, what's possible for animal kingdom. And I was visualizing what's possible because I also got caught in some negativity. I was talking a lot, I caught myself talking a lot about how nobody wants to change, or nature's dying, Mother Earth is dying, Mother Earth is suffering. And I was caught in this negativity. I was moving away from the potential and creating this state of helplessness when it comes to the potential of our planet to transform, to transcend all the greed, all the what has been done out of like narcissist and greed and the crave for more power. I was focused a lot on that. I was focused a lot on the greed, and that was creating a state of like there's nothing I can do about that. So I started bringing those questions. What is possible for a planet? What is possible to happen because of this pandemic? It's possible that our nation is going to become the healthiest nation in the world. So when you start using these questions also to use not just for yourself, but for your family, for your loving ones, for a nation, for the planet, you cannot help but to feel stronger, to feel curious, to feel more energized, because the biggest source of energy comes from our psychology. The biggest source of energy comes from our mind, from our thoughts. So that's what I was guided to share with you today. I wanted to be the guide to show you today that all you need to do, if you're really feeling stuck in the rut, start asking those empowering questions. And those questions are going to lead you to a little more energy. And from that little more energy, more life force, you're going to be guided to take a small action that's going to start creating some movement towards the direction that you wanted to go. Because when we just getting busy or the days are passing by and we don't feel like we're making any progress, we beat ourselves down. We start losing faith and confidence in ourselves. And that's a tragedy, because that's just the mind. It's an illusion. We are tremendous, powerful beings. We have the power of this field. We have the power of the universe. It was given to us because we're a speck of light of the universe. We're a speck of light of God. We like the drop of water of the ocean. We are the ocean. We are the light. So anytime you think that they can do it, but I can, you create a separation. That's your ego creating separation. That's your ego trying to make you special. So that's why I say, I'm not special, not special. We are powerful beyond what our minds can conceive. So ask those questions, because those questions are going to create this magnetic force that is going to create movement and progress in your life. And that's what we all want, right? Happiness, part of happiness. One of the definitions of happiness is feeling like we make a small progression. And believe me, progression doesn't equal being busy. I am less busy than I've been in many years. I'm doing very little these days, and I feel so much progress in my life. When I sit for an hour and a half meditation, I feel like there's more progress that I ever had in my business when I was working 8, 10 hours a day. Now, doesn't mean that's always going to be the case, but right now, what life is asking out of me is to sit in meditation a lot and share these messages with you. Messages of hope, messages of empowerment, messages of confidence, messages of strength, messages of courage. So that's what I'm here to do. So thank you. My videos always go longer than I plan. It's just because I wanted to share this message with you, and I wanted them to be complete. And I want to share some of my own experiences too. I don't want to just here turn the camera on and just say, do these 2 things and your life will be transformed. That's 3D. That's old paradigm. That's old coaching. I used to do that. No, I want to share with you some of my own experiences too, and how I get caught in the patterns of negativity as well, because I need to be there in order to learn this other way, so I can teach you from a very authentic place. I teach you from the heart, I teach you from neuroscience, and I teach you from the cosmos. I take all these amazing sources of teachings and I translate and give it to you, and I'm learning every single day just like you are. So I hope this message helps, and please share. You have my permission to share my messages with your friends via email and your social media. Help me to bring more hope, more confidence, more courage, more love, more light to the world. I need your help. So thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Mwah.